Hello everybody, Image here, and I'm pleased to be joined by Weapons Left to deliver another StarCraft commentary. This is a match from the Gyeongnam STX Masters Cup. It's Game 4 between the Hite Sparkies and KT Fingerboom. We have Horang2 representing Hite. He is in the orange at the bottom right, and Violet for KT Fingerboom. I still can't get over that team name. He's in the top right in green, and we're playing on Collosseum 2. Weapons, over to you. Tell us a little bit about these players and your thoughts on this whole KT Fingerboom deal.
Oh, now that is such a great thing to talk about, and I will get to that. Basically, Horang2, as he is, I guess, called now, 61.9% overall in all of his games, and that does include this one. That's probably not very much of a spoiler. Is a relatively solid player, relatively middle of the road. I don't see a lot of exciting stuff from him, usually timing based in terms of his play. Whereas, on the other hand, Violet seems to be a much more promising player, in my opinion. Coming into the last half of the Pro League season, he seemed to really be a threat to actually make something of KT. Instead of the one-man show that was Flash, Violet seemed to actually be showing some promise, not only in the Pro League, but also in GOM, advancing relatively far into that tournament as well. So I'd expect some exciting StarCraft out of these two. Obviously, map statistics don't matter with the this being a Protoss versus Protoss matchup. And I don't know. I've heard good things, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. It looks like both these players are sending out probes to scout at literally the exact same time with a similar timing. While that's going on, though, I mean, KT Fingerboom, you know somebody got fired over that. That only lasted, what, like 3 or 4 days, maybe a week? Just an epic mistake there. In terms, I mean, who really? Fingerboom? Seriously?
You know, now that they're changing it again, or they already have, I think they're changing it again. They have a poll up for possible successor names, and they all seem equally as bad. Now that they're changing it, I'm going to kind of miss the whole Fingerboom thing, just for its absurdity, I guess. Also, I kind of disagree with your assessment of Horang. I found that a lot of his games have been pretty exciting, mostly because he will just cheese the crap out of everyone. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's doing that here.
Yeah, in that sense, he is. Yeah, looking for proxy.
Probe. So I guess he expected to be on the receiving end there.
Which is interesting. I mean, you know, with somebody that does, as you say, opt for cheese more often than not, it does seem kind of interesting that he would go ahead and check for that in return. Though Violet really, in his play, plays a lot more standard. I feel as though he's not really a macro bot, but he certainly is not opposed to playing standard games.
I agree. The game that caught my attention as far as Violet goes was a straight-up macro game win over Bisu. Must have been a few months ago now, and I thought he played that very competently, and it seems like he can play a macro game. And while it is going to be a macro game from the look of things, Horang is looking to put on a bit of early Zealot and Probe pressure inside of Violet's base.
Indeed, we've got Zealots all over the place, and it looks like one of those probes just went down. So yeah, Horang showing a little bit of the type of early aggression that he does like to distribute out to his opponent. At the same time, though, I'm pretty confident that Violet's well prepared for this, and I don't think that he's going to take very much damage from it at all. It looks like he's actually already repressed the majority of it.
Yeah, it looks like Violet is safe, and I think it was actually Horang's probe that got killed inside of Violet's base there.
Yeah, indeed. I think you're right about that, actually, looking at the count.
Horang continuing to apply a bit of pressure. Loses the Zealot, though. One hit short of getting that probe. And the builds are looking about identical. Both players going gate core gate. And I saw range for Violet. Didn't see it for Horang yet, but there it is.
There's range, yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Looks like it's going to be identical, and actually opting to remove that sunken colony in the front of his base. Not entirely sure if that's to provide additional space for. That was pretty hilarious. Provide additional space for his troops to move fast, or what? I actually haven't seen a lot of players do that.
Yeah, I don't know if he's considering building something out there, and like maybe putting up a pylon or something to sort of narrow that choke, but if he was going to do that, he could have just left the sunken colony there to do that. It's a little bit mystifying for me too. Maybe someone can chime in a comment and fill us in. Both players adding their robotics facilities now, and I guess here's going to be where we can look for an actual deviation in the build, whether the players are going to go support bay or observatory first.
Exactly. Well, more than likely, one of these players will opt for Reavers. I would have to imagine that I would actually give that to Horang2 in terms of his style. Drops and drop play would definitely be more suited to the style of play that he likes to go for. So we'll see if he does indeed go for that type of strategic play, or if he goes for observers, for observers and observation first. Now it looks like actually taking the time to expand right now.
Yeah, both players expanding. Both players, it appears, in the dark as to what the other player is doing at the moment. And Violet mounting some pressure over at Horang's choke.
And this is an equal number of units, so this is really going to come down to micro. And I think that actually Violet's coming out on top in this exchange so far. Losing a Zealot there is Horang2, and it looks like at this point Violet does have a superior force. He's managed to keep both of his Zealots alive, and as well as the Dragoons. So now basically the Zealots just hunting down these Dragoons, but reinforcements now being produced by Horang2, and this might be enough to clean up this force. And it looks like in fact he is, or will be able to safely defend against now with a superior Dragoon count.
But it looks like he's not defending. For the moment, Horang's moving his own Dragoons out, and his expansion nexus is taking a beating for the moment.
Yeah, at the cost of his expansion, which I don't understand really. I would have to imagine that they would be relatively important for him to keep that alive. More than likely he will be able to keep it from being completely razed, but letting it take that much damage is actually kind of surprising. And here he comes back to go ahead and clean up this force with his additional Dragoon supplement.
Yeah, I think Horang might have been waiting for some reinforcements because those Zealots could have blocked the ramp and left Violet with the high ground advantage for his Dragoons. Hard to say for sure though, as the expansion finishes.
Yeah, and honestly, though, it does seem that as though the expansion didn't take that much damage to begin with. Looking at it when it actually came in, when it fully worked in. Losing an observer is Violet right in the middle of Horang's base. But yeah, looking at the Nexus when it actually warped in, it did not seem as though there was that much damage, and as you can see, not burning or anything along those lines. So really, it looks like he did not suffer that much when waiting for his additional reinforcements. And it looks like at this point, Violet is going to go ahead and throw down a Citadel of a Dune, so we can expect to see some Templar tech. Whereas I believe that Horang was actually in the process of going with a Forge and Observatory, so he is there's the deviation in the build that we were looking for.
Another deviation, and it's a big one, is that Violet's gone up to 4 gates, and I think Horang is still only on 3 for the moment.
Indeed, which would certainly indicate that Violet intends to go ahead and macro up and begin the macro process. In a straight-up game, I would imagine that that would have to favor him, as I would think that he would be a stronger macro player.
What's going on outside of Violet's choke? Is that Horang planting a pylon over by his third?
Yes. Yes, it is, and he's got tons of Dragoons to support it. So, seeing the fact that he put down a Forge, yeah, it looks like he's going to start a cannon push at this tertiary.
This is really interesting, and it could really help Horang to contain Violet inside those 2 bases that he has. So this is another interesting deviation, and definitely creative play. I wouldn't say it's cheese. It's a bit late in the game for that, but it's definitely Horang doing something different, which is refreshing.
Exactly. Yeah, making me completely eat my words from the opening of this commentary. Horang playing completely non-standard and giving us something very, very non-traditional and something non-standard to look at. And at this point, I don't think that Violet has any clue. If you're looking at the minimap in the first-person view, that this is going on. So he has absolutely no clue that he's going to be the victim of this kind of pressure.
One question, though, is that if Horang he's put 2 pylons and 7 cannons up there so far, so that's just over 1,000 minerals. And, well, he's going to have that many less units to actually push in, so what's he going to do to actually break Violet? Is his plan to just wait around, expand, take the map, contain, and then just have an overwhelming weight of resources and units to throw at him? Or is he looking to end this earlier?